We coming off a good road win against Ole Miss, going into two-game homestand here. We got to make sure we're sharp on top of our stuff, and guys are locked in because it's human nature. You start to win a few in a row, and you think you got it figured out. But our big thing is we still got to get healthy. If you've been watching, I respect Taylor a ton, but you can tell he's not close to 100%. I mean, he's just trying to tough it out for his teammates and do what's right. So we sat him out of practice today, try to get him a little better. If he doesn't feel significantly better tomorrow, my guess is he'll be listed as questionable or doubtful tonight because we got to get him back to where he's flying around. I think Clark did a really good job with some of our other guys on that. Reitzel sat there for a few weeks, missed a few games, and he's playing the best basketball maybe he's ever played here. I think he's 24 for his last 48 from three, just hit 7 threes in the game again. It's the 19th time a player here has hit at least 7 threes in a game. First time Trelly's had 3+ games where he scored 20+ points. So I think Trelly's playing his best basketball. It's also great, too. It's a lot of Mudita, right? Like, you volunteer to come off the bench and don't really care whether your name gets called in the starting lineup. You just care about contributing to winning. I think some of our older, veteran, experienced guys that understand it's really just about winning have really embodied that. Taylor's been hurt and really just trying to give us anything he possibly can to help us win games. And I can't say enough about how great Taylor's been. He just hasn't been healthy, but Taylor doesn't care whether he starts, he comes off the bench. Houston's told me numerous times, just doesn't matter whether I start or not, I'm just trying to contribute to winning. You get Reitzel do it, and then he comes through and scores over 20 again, leads us in points, minutes. Like the chemistry, the camaraderie, the Mudita on this team is really starting to come together, which I think is contributing to this winning streak. And it's nice when the older guys are the ones embodying it at the highest level. So they're making great example. And shoot, the other day after practice in huddle, Houston stopped the whole huddle, just commented on how great Jaleel's attitude, work ethic, everything in practice is. This is a hard thing for him to go through, not playing as much. So, but I think when Jaleel sees guys like Reitzel, Taylor, Houston embody it, makes it easier for him, and he's been great too. So I can't say enough about our guys' attitudes and everything. So to get to the game, South Carolina is obviously led by Meechie Johnson. Shoot, if you look at his Texas game, man, he really got going. I mean, he's top 10 in the league in scoring. He's done it at a high level for a long time. South Carolina, Ohio State back. So he's obviously where a big focus is, but they've got plenty of other players. They've got, seems like a lot of guys on their roster are good shooters that for whatever reason have maybe struggled this year and not sure why. And I told our guys, you look like a guy like Miles Stute, like a great shooter in league, not shooting as well as he did at Vanderbilt. Some other guys that have a reputation and have shot it well, whether it's in high school, previously in their college careers, that for whatever reason they just haven't been able to shoot as well this year. Well, I told our guys, if our defensive intensity is not where it needs to be, any of them are capable of going off from three. And, South Carolina's been in tight games. There's 3 games that they've, been decided by 5 points or less. They've lost a couple, some tight games. So their record's not great in conference. We know that. But they're more than capable of playing well, being in a tight game, scoring it at a high enough level. I mean, they've scored 80 or plus twice this year and lost in overtime. Before that, under Coach Paris, they'd never lost when they scored 80 or more. So they've shown they're capable of scoring the ball. So we've got to come in really locked in, particularly on the defensive end, and make sure that we're not giving them great looks and that we do a really good job, particularly our guards, especially on Meechie.
Yeah, you mentioned the 3-game win streak. Just how close is this team to being where you want them to be?
we're getting a lot closer with our defensive focus, the way we're moving the ball on offense. We're still not healthy. You know, we had everybody that we think we're going to have available for the rest of the year available Wednesday at Ole Miss, but you guys watch the game. Taylor's not 100%. He's not even close. And we're playing closer to what I'd like. It'd be great if we could get, you know, if we get Taylor healthy like we got Reitzel healthy, and you see what Reitzel's able to do after he gets healthy. Taylor's capable of doing something similar, you know, with the talent he's got. So if we could get everybody healthy and continue to play with the focus and the ball movement and the unselfishness on offense, it'd be pretty close to the way I want it. Now, the one thing I didn't think we did a great job of was, you know, when we got the 15-point lead against Ole Miss, I didn't think we kept our – we showed the difference in defense for the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the second half. I think we were a .7 something to a 1.44. I think maybe a .73 to a 1.44. Our defensive efficiency, first 10 minutes, last 10 minutes of the second half. Well, difference was we built a 15-point lead. Now we got comfortable. Like, we can't, if we're going to be where we got to get, you can't get up 15 and all of a sudden relax on defense for the next 10 minutes, which I felt like we did against Ole Miss. So, you know, and I'm not saying we're going to get up 15 because South Carolina's got a lot of good players and a lot of scoring. But, you know, the question is, next time we get a double-digit lead or 15-point lead, can we keep the group locked in, particularly on the defensive end, no matter what the score said? Because there's been plenty of games this year. I don't know if you guys watched the end of the Vandy, Oklahoma game where large leads have been cut in a hurry, and this team's got enough scoring power in any team in our league, really. So that to me is the next step. Can we keep the defensive focus for 40 minutes no matter what, on top of getting fully healthy? Can we keep the defensive focus for a full 40?
Yeah, there were some pretty pointed comments that Bucky McMillan made and Bruce Pearl made, like Bucky asking how's it made right for us related to Chuck, Bruce calling it selfish and wrong. Like, how would you respond to those comments?
Listen, good thing I read my Bible every morning, because I just read in James about how to respond to certain situations like this, and you respond in love. It's the way it tells me to respond. So they have their viewpoints. You know what? I have not gone back. People send me stuff, like I've told you guys. I keep social media off my phone. I try to focus on my team, what we have control over. I have no control over what they say. I know Bucky well. I think some of his was maybe taken out of context, and I'm very familiar with things being taken out of context. So I think his point was more, he felt like, according to the way he told me, he felt like Charles should be able to play the whole year, was his feeling. I mean, he's got a kid playing on a temporary restraining order as well. Like, he felt like Charles should be able to play the whole year, and he should be able to play against everybody else. Now, how do you make it right for them that Charles is not able to go against the rest of the league? And you know what? With Bucky, to be honest with you, and I respect Bucky. He called me. We talked, and not just about that, on some other stuff. And Bucky's a high school coach. You talk about it, and I addressed the thing with Chris Beard after the game. The guys that came up, more like how myself, Bucky, Beard was in junior college ranks, guys that came up that you had to have a love for the players that you coached, because I didn't make any money for the first 16 years. I was an assistant Division III coach for 5 years, a high school coach that my money was paid to be a teacher, not to be a coach. When you do it for as long as some of us have done it, and you don't make any money off the kids, you're spending a lot more money on them than you make, and you're in it for the kids and for them, you get a little different perspective. The kids are not being used by you. The kids, you're in lock with the kids, and when you have a right to make, or you have an opportunity to make things right by guys that you've invested all of your time in, and you want, like guys that are more sad for Charles, have a viewpoint towards Charles. We're coaching the kids and I'm gonna be honest with you, everybody that's in college athletics, if you ask them why do you do what you do, probably their answer is we do it for the kids that we serve. Well, I guess we see who really does it for the kids that they serve and who doesn't. I think the response by Chris, and I think really Bucky, and again, if you took one or two sentences out, they probably sounded the other way. In talking to him, I don't think it was meant that way. I think he feels like Charles should be playing and should have the opportunity to play, and wish that everybody else would have had to play against us when Charles was playing. It was more what I got when I talked to him.
I think after Wednesday's game, Amari Allen has twice as many hard hats as anybody else on the team. What does that say about him and not only buying into doing the blue-collar stuff, but doing it when his name is kind of being floated for the NBA, like doing those tough things when he maybe doesn't need to?
Yeah, I think when you're about winning, you find yourself doing winning things. Our whole point in charting blue collar points, if you will, is, what does blue collar embody? Well, you go right outside here, they got a whole, most blue collar workers don't have their phones at work because they're down in the mud, laying bricks and stuff. But you go out here and you watch these guys that are putting up this building for us. I mean, they show up early, they work hard, they bring their lunch pail to work, and they put in, it got really cold, nobody wanted to be outside, they still show up to work. The point is, you show up, you do what you have to do for the team to win, regardless of whether your name gets put in the paper, whether it doesn't really matter. So are you willing to dive on the floor, take a charge, make a winning play? The people who get their name in the papers are the leading scorers. The people that get their name called as starters, great. I think same thing goes with Reitzel. Do we really care whether we get our name called as a starter or just contribute to winning? So I think, when you get a good group of guys and most of them just care about winning, they don't care whether their name gets called as a starter or whether their name gets called because they're scoring the points. All they care about is winning the game. Well, if all you care about is winning, you're going to do winning things, and Amari does winning things. And yeah, people have sent me 2 or 3 different mock drafts that had him. I think he's the highest guy on our team right now in a few of these mock drafts. So when you're 6'7", skilled, can play 1 through 4, and you just care about winning, and people see how competitive. Coach Saban showed up to watch our game, and he wanted to talk about Amari Allen. Super competitive, how competitive he is. People that know what winning looks like, I think Coach Saban knows what winning looks like. These NBA guys are supposed to be drafting people that impact winning, and I think you see OKC is reigning champs, team with the best record going into the All-Star break, the Pistons. You look at both those teams, they got a lot of guys that play hard, tough, physical, about winning things. NBA is going a lot more towards having everybody on the team be all about winning. Amari's all about winning. People in the NBA are interested in that, and he's got really good size, skill, and athleticism.
You talked in your opening about the chemistry and camaraderie really coming together. How much of that has to be player-led and coming from them instead of the staff telling you got to be together?
Listen, if it was staff-led, every team in the country would have great chemistry because there's no staffs that are trying to have messed-up chemistry. Every coach would love for their players to get along great, pull for each other, have mood. It's, to me, very much player-led. When you got a guy like Reitzel who's willing, and I'll say this too, we had to go away from starting those 3 guys. Reitzel, bring me off the bench, doesn't matter to me, I'm just trying to win. Well, then in the game, Philon's sitting over there. I think he's leading the league in scoring. I'm not sure, I think so. Yeah. And, he's rested long enough, he's fresh, and I go to put him in, but I can't quite figure out who to bring out because, it's basically those 3 guards are rotating, but I think Reitzel had it going, just made a couple threes, and if you just kept the 3-guard rotation, it'd be Reitzel's turn to come out. And Philon just said, leave them in, man. They're playing really well. Just leave them in. I'm good. I'm good right where I'm at. Well, when you get the leading scorer in the league to say just leave the guys in, when you get 6-year senior in Reitzel, say it doesn't matter whether I start, or you get Houston Millett who says I want to come off the bench. I don't want to start. I'm better let the younger guys start. When you get Taylor Bowen fighting through every injury he's had, just whatever, I'm just trying to help the team win. It's a lot easier for the rest of these guys to really embody that. So, yeah, it is majority player led. Every coach in America would love to coach some of these guys I'm coaching right now with the chemistry that they've got, and I think it's coming around more and more, kind of led by those guys.
You've made it sound like Charles is sticking around with you guys the rest of the season. Just what does that look like for him? Is he able to be a practice body?
Yeah, he practiced today. Great, helps the scout team. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like people that want to have all these thoughts on what it is, like no, when you leave here to go to the G League, does not help your development. Like there's a reason that people are leaving the Euro League as pros to come to college basketball. It's a better situation for them. They're making more money than the Euro League. They're able to work on their body better. We have better travel. We have better nutrition, diet, everything. So yeah, he's working out with our strength coach. Gotten with him and Amanda on getting his diet back so we can put this weight on that he's lost while he's in the G League. He's practicing with us. He's going to class. He wants to get his degree from Alabama. He's a student athlete that unfortunately is not allowed to participate in games, but he's a student athlete at Alabama and will be treated as such, and he practiced with us today.
Coach, you mentioned after Ole Miss that you had Patrick Murphy come by to give the media a talk recently. Is there a reason why you decided for that message to come at this point in the season?
Yeah, it was. Can't remember what game that was after. It's been a few games. I felt like he didn't speak to our team last year. He did 2 years ago, probably about the same time. Not quite sure why I thought when I did, but Murph's always a guy that's texting me after every game. I mean, he's super invested in Alabama athletics as a whole, whether it be softball, which obviously he's in charge of, baseball, football, basketball, gymnastics. I mean, he supports everything. So, he texts me, he just always says, if you want me to talk, and in the back of my mind, I'd been thinking, it'd be good for him to come. Most of these guys with the turnover you have in college basketball, the only guy that was on this team in our Final Four team was Reitzel, which is crazy. It was 2 years ago. So Reitzel's the only one that heard him talk. I just felt like we needed to kind of come together. We'd faced a lot of adversity. Might have been, it was right around the whole Charles situation, but the injuries have been the biggest adversity that we've had to face this year. So obviously the Charles thing was a little distraction when he wasn't able to continue playing, but we had way more adversity than that. Like the injuries that these guys have gone through, had to play through, we've had to rest, all the different starting lineups. Like if we could get them to pull together and really pull for each other, which I thought we were headed that direction anyway, so we had pretty good guys. And look, man, Murph did a great job. I mean, some of the stuff, when he talked 2 years ago, I thought it was outstanding. When he talked this time, I thought it was even better. Different stories that he used for examples, different guys. Like I'm big Patrick Murphy, big Alabama softball fan. So hopefully this will take us through the end, and then I can watch some softball games in the spring.
Hey, Nate, how have you seen the team respond since the ruling Monday? And have you seen any type of, hey, we know this is the group we have now, we got to go finish this off for the rest of the season? Yeah,
I think they've responded great. I think it little fuel, everybody questioning how good we are. Like, we had them for 5 games. We didn't have them for 18. We had them for 5. Our record, and I put it up. I showed the team before we played Ole Miss. All of the analytics before and after. And it was, Charles wasn't there, it was on the road. We didn't take him with us. And we got worse in all these categories. And I said that the issue wasn't Charles. When Charles was here, he anchored the top 3 defense in the country. Charles was he's one of the best rim finishers we've ever had. Our shooting, our defensive field goal percentage, significant. Everything was better, when we had Charles before. And on that team, large part due, I shouldn't say in large part, but in some part due to Charles. Why did we brought him in and all of a sudden everything got worse? And they kind of talked and they admitted, like, they didn't do their part. Maybe there's a relaxation, like we don't have to play as hard. We got this rim, like it wasn't good, their mindset. So I just said, like we got to change it. Like, he's not here. We're going to have to play harder. I thought they played harder. Like, like we've got who we've got. And you saw it. I mean, even Taylor probably shouldn't have been playing. I mean, you saw him limping around out there. These guys are giving us everything they've got. The guys that are, they're real warriors that we're putting out there. Philon's playing through an injury that a lot of guys would sit with. Taylor's played through multiple injuries that most players would sit with. So I think they kind of galvanized the group. Yeah, this is who we got. We got to pull together. We got to play for each other. We got to give it everything we got. Like, and if we're going to make a run, this is who the run's going to be made with. And let's prove to everybody that we won, and we got multiple top 25 wins before he came, and we've got multiple ones hopefully in the future after he's gone. But we need to start it, and it needs to look like it's supposed to look moving forward. And I think we had a pretty good start with it against Ole Miss.
On a more lighthearted note, what did you think of the new uniforms? I know they're
The new unis?
Yeah, they're similar, but the pants are a little
Yeah, they're the ones, I guess we hadn't worn them since the Final Four year. They broke them out after practice. Reitzel kind of did the promo. They put the old school logo on the short. I like the old school logo. Yeah, that one right there. I think it's not this one, is it? Oh, it's the elephant. Yeah. It's the black A, but it's different. Yeah, they mixing up the what's inside the black A. I think they're pretty cool. The Trelly kept talking about we're bringing the ones back from when Dud, Erwin Dudley's on staff, from when Dud played. And it looked like the shorts are a little shorter, like back when I played. Like the shorts have gone all over the place. Short, Fab 5, baggy, back somewhere. So maybe they said, maybe we'll play a lot harder like they played in the 80s. I think that comment was made too. So they did play hard in the 80s. I gave him a Larry Bird quote today too. So we got a lot of 80s, 90s references. So.
What was the Bird quote?
Hold on, I got it right here. Practice plan. It was good. You a Bird fan? Yeah, I saw Larry playing person back at the Mecca back in Milwaukee back in the day. Mecca Bradley Center. No, it's Fiserv. Here it says leadership is getting players to believe in you. If you tell a teammate you're ready to play as tough as you're able to, you better go out there and do it. Players will see right through a phony, and they can tell when you're not giving it all you've got. Leadership is diving for a loose ball, our blue-collar stuff, getting the crowd involved, getting other players involved. It's being able to take it as well as dish it out. It's the only way you're going to get respect from the players. We felt like Bird was a pretty good leader back in the day. His teams won a lot of games. We like to mix in new guys, old guys, new coaches, old coaches. So that was the Bird quote of the day. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to get you some Packer gear for maybe Valentine's Day, huh? Green Bay Packers.